The church bells rang softly that morning, a melody of love and new beginnings. But for Ethan, each chime felt like a reminder of everything he had lost. He stood quietly in the back pew, hidden among strangers, his hands trembling as he clutched a small white envelope in his pocket. A letter he would never send. Wasn't supposed to be like this. Not for them. Not after everything. It was autumn when Ethan first met Leela. The city was golden, leaves dancing with the wind, and she was sitting on a park bench, sketching strangers passing by. He had clumsily dropped his coffee near her feet, a simple accident that turned into a conversation neither of them wanted to end. She was art. He was music. She drew with feeling. He played with soul. Somehow, they just fit together imperfectly, beautifully. For years, their worlds revolved around each other. There were movie nights that melted into deep talks and long walks under shimmering city lights. Theirs was the kind of love that didn't need words, just glances, laughter, and a silence that always felt safe. He remembered how she used to rest her head on his shoulder and whisper, "Promise me, even if the world ends, you'll still find me." And he'd smile, holding her hand a little tighter. "I'd find you in any lifetime, Lila, but life has its own cruel poetry." When her mother fell sick, Lila had to move across the country. Ethan promised he'd visit every month, every chance he got, and he did, for a while. But distance isn't just about miles. It's about the silence that grows between people. The calls got shorter, the texts became delayed. She got busier and he got lonelier. The last time they met was on a rainy Sunday, or brought her sunflowers, her favorite. She smiled, but her eyes were tired. "Ethan," she said softly, "I don't know what's happening to me anymore. Everything feels different." He wanted to say, "We can fix this." But deep down, he knew they were standing on two separate paths that no longer led to the same place. When he left that day, she didn't ask him to stay, and he didn't turn back to see her watching from the window, tears falling onto her sketchbook. That was the last time he saw her until today. Months passed, then years. Ethan tried to move on new faces, new cities, new dreams, but somehow every song he played ended up being about her. Every melody he wrote carried her name. Then, one morning, a cream envelope with gold lettering arrived. "You are cordially invited to the wedding of Leela Carter and Noah Reed." For a moment, the world stopped. He read it again and again, hoping he was wrong, that maybe it was another Leela, another Noah, but it wasn't. It was her. He placed the invitation on his desk and just stared at it for days. Finally, he made a decision. He had to go. Not because he wanted to stop her, but because he needed to see her happy, if it wasn't with him. The church was small, filled with flowers and laughter. Everyone was smiling, taking pictures, whispering blessings. Ethan sat quietly in the last row, head lowered, heart heavy, and then the music began. A soft piano melody filled the air. The doors opened, and there she was, Lila, walking down the aisle in a white gown that shimmered like morning light. Her eyes glowed not with a wild spark he remembered, but with a quiet peace. He wanted to smile, to be happy for her, but his eyes blurred with tears he couldn't hide. Every step she took felt like another heartbeat breaking inside him, and now was walking toward another man, the kind who arrived in her life when he couldn't stay. When the ceremony ended, Ethan quietly left his seat and slipped out the back door. He didn't wait for the reception, didn't say goodbye, but he left something behind the envelope from his pocket. Inside, a letter he'd written the night before. "Dear Lila, if you're reading this, it means I found the courage to come but not the strength to stay. I want to tell you that I'm happy for you, truly, because you look beautiful, and he looks at you the way I used to, with awe, like you're the only person in the world. I used to think love meant holding on. Now I know sometimes real love means letting go. I still remember the way you used to draw, how you'd look at me and say, 'Hold still. I want to capture this moment.' You always did. You captured my heart, my soul, my everything. I hope he draws you in new colors, paints new skies with you, and loves you in all the ways I couldn't. If we ever meet again, maybe years from now. Maybe never, I hope you smile when you see me, because even after everything, I'll still be grateful that once in my life I got to love you. Always, Ethan." He had placed the letter under her seat before she walked in that morning. He didn't want her to find it that day, just someday. maybe years later, when she'd open an old box and find it, and remember a boy who once loved her more than words could ever say. 5 years passed. Lila lived in a small house near the coast. Her husband Noah worked overseas most of the time. They had a quiet life, safe, steady, kind. But sometimes when the sun set and the ocean turned golden, she'd sit by the window sketching waves and think of a boy who once played guitar under city lights, singing her name like it was a prayer. One afternoon, while cleaning an old drawer, she found a wrinkled envelope, the one tucked beneath her wedding seat years ago. Her hands trembled as she unfolded the letter. By the time she finished reading, her tears had soaked the paper. She whispered his name, Ethan. Like a ghost she had never truly let go of. Ethan now played in small bars, his music gentle and full of stories. He never married. He never stopped writing songs about her. One evening, he played a new song titled The Girl in White. The crowd listened, silent, as he sang softly. She walked down the aisle. I let her go, with a smile that hid what I'll never show. In another life, maybe she'd be mine, but in this one, I'll just love her in rhyme. Someone in the audience recorded it and uploaded it online. It went viral. Millions listened, including her. When Lila heard it, she knew instantly it was him. Every word, every pause, every ache. It was the same love, still alive, after all those years. She wrote him a letter that night, but she never sent it.
Ow.
Some stories don't need an ending, just memories that stay. Years later, Ethan passed away quietly in his sleep. They found a notebook beside him filled with unfinished songs. And on the last page, it's just one line written in shaky handwriting. I watched her walk down the aisle, but in my heart, she never left. Lila visited his grave months later. She brought sunflowers, the same ones he gave her on that rainy day. She placed them gently on the stone and whispered, "You kept your promise. You found me again." The wind blew softly, carrying her tears into the sunlight. And for a brief moment, she swore she could hear faint guitar strings somewhere, far away playing her favorite song. Thank you for watching. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe for more content that explores the depths of human connection. We'll see you in the next one.